Hey, hello everybody. How's my YouTubers today? Well, everybody, here we are almost. We are in mid-June. We are getting ready for a solstice and then an eclipse. It's going to make a big change in the energy around us. You're going to start feeling, seeing, and interpreting energy a little different because these planetary changes that are happening are making it just absolutely prime time to see and feel more spirit. You guys are not alone. I get a tremendous amount of phone calls from folks they think they see spirit. They do. The planet right now is vibrating at a higher resonance than it did. Not just because of the planetary things that are going on per se, but as a whole, the planet is starting to vibrate higher and higher and faster, and it is making a real prime environment for spirit to be able to come through. It literally is thinning the veil, so more and more of you can see spirit. And more of you will be seeing spirit. So don't be surprised, don't be startled, just be ready, okay? Now, I will tell you that on occasion when I see spirit, it will scare the bejesus right out of me because, at first when spirit comes to you, it will startle you because you don't necessarily know who that spirit is and you have to kind of identify it. And sometimes they just startle you. They show up in unexpected places, unexpected times, in the middle of the night. So, just don't be scared. A lot of that crap on TV, what is Supernatural is one show, Charmed, Vampire Hunter. Oh, you know what? Some of that crap is just so far-fetched. There are so many of you thinking that you need to do all this kind of ritual to get this stuff to happen, and you don't. Now, I'm going to give you some of the different ways that you can see spirit. Because a lot of people think that psychics and mediums, that we just can see a physical shape and then we know what it is. No, we oftentimes see a physical shape and then have to interpret who it is. Sometimes we just feel the energy and we still have to interpret who it is. However, there are a lot of different ways to see that spirit, and a lot of you are seeing it, not really realizing it right now. One of the forms, obviously, is a shadow figure. Not all shadow figures are bad. Quit watching the ghost hunter shows. Okay? Most of them are just spirit just trying to come through any way they can. Okay? Shows up as a black figure, a shadow figure, sometimes a black blob, a black or a dark cloud, so to speak. But don't be startled. Don't be scared. We'll get there in a minute. I'll tell you how to deal with it. It can be seen as a white mist. It can be seen as a white orb. Any color orbs, actually. The color of the orb has a lot to do with what spirit it might be. Sometimes I have seen the white mist in a real loose configuration, kind of like a fog. And other times I have seen it more condensed, so it looks more like a cloud. So it can happen either way. I can see the physical outline of a person in full color sometimes. Sometimes it's in black and white. It can come through any number of ways. It can also appear as kind of like heat looks coming up off the pavement, that wavy kind of look. Sometimes spirit will disrupt your vision just kind of like that, with just that quick a thing. It can also, like the fumes off a gas can, that wavy, loose energy. So, there are a lot of different ways spirit can present itself. And 99% of the time, it is not bad. And 97% of that time, it's family members that pop in to let us know that they're around us, they're near us. Now, sometimes they can actually scratch or give us black and blue marks. And those aren't necessarily bad energies anyway. They can be just our family trying to, look, I'm here, and they get so exasperated and so frustrated that they are clinging and grabbing, and sometimes they can leave scratches. Sometimes it can leave a black and blue mark. Now, if you do have that happen, you've got to kind of sort that out a little bit and see and feel what kind of energy that happens to be around you. And all you simply have to do, if it is unwanted at that time and at that place, is simply tell them you must go. You've got to have unwavering confidence that right now is not the time. You need to go. They have to listen to you. They have to listen to you. Don't let your fear make you think that they're still here or they're still hanging around. It could be several. It could be grandma coming back and checking up on you. But if it comes in. Now, the first thing I really don't want you to do is when you see or hear or feel something, automatically assign that to a negative energy, because you can create that negative energy. Most of the calls that I'm getting about people who are experiencing a noise in the house, something's going on, things are flying off the shelves. It is usually not a bad energy. Just, it can be a confused energy. And a lot of that gets amplified if you have your own chaos in the house. If there's arguing, if there's fighting, if there's teenage kids, you know how those hormones are for kids, that energy just makes it erratic to begin with. And that energy will welcome in some of those, not those iffy ones, okay? And sometimes, most of the time, those are just, little street derelicts that are roaming around trying to find a place to be, a place to fit in, even in death. A lot of times those folks couldn't find a place in life and where to be, so after death, they still roam around trying to find a place to fit in. So, that's another type of energy that kind of can come in. Simply get some sage. You can burn sage. You can get sage online. I get mine at eBay. You can and I would much rather see you guys purchase your sage locally. First off, you can get it at a bulk food store. Okay, if you have any Amish bulk food stores, get the whole sage, and it comes usually in like a cottage cheese cup, or the ones that are a little smaller. And you literally can just take that sage, put it in a tiny receptacle. This is a little brass bowl that I use for, I've got some sticks of sage in there, and I actually have a stick of Palo Santo in there, which is another thing that helps eliminate anything that could be considered negative energy. Now, if you have teenage kids in the house and you have apparitions happening and noises bumping and banging around, you can take that sage and burn it simply like, now they come in bigger bundles like wands, but you literally just can take that sage, light it on fire a little bit, blow that out, and take that smoke. The act is actually referred to as smudging. Same as the ashes on the Catholic's forehead on Ash Wednesday. That's a smudge. And take that and just go right around the house. And you don't have to say a lot. You don't have to do a lot. You don't have to do any kind of rituals. Simply say, no negative energy or emotion is allowed here. Only peace and prosperity is allowed to enter. That's it. Don't get all caught up in the rituals. Those things can be borderline dangerous, because then you are altering by doing some rituals, not all. You are altering free will. Our planet is a planet of free will. We are sent here when we are born to learn what we need to learn down here. And it is a planet of free will. We come down on our own accord. We literally, that brings me to the next topic, is soul contract. We do. Some of you have heard about the soul contract. It's often referred to as, I can't even think what the other term is. It'll come to me. But the soul contract is when, before we're even born, our soul stands before our own God, our God source, whoever that may be for you. I don't see God's source as a physical human. It is a glowing light vibration of pure love, all-knowing, all-being, all-encompassing, benevolent, loving and benevolent. And as our soul stands before God, we are also the same thing, a little smaller version. We are a glowing vibration of light and love. That love does vibrate and translates into light. And we come into agreements before we're born. We agree to some of the major trials and tribulations that we are going to go through. For example, I have 2 sons in the spirit world already, and they both chose to come into this planet as handicapped kids. Their soul took that on so that they could learn great knowledge to be passed back on to source when they return. Now, sometimes we plan to take on some health conditions, it's the major trials and tribulations. We also come into agreements on the lessons that need to be learned out of that. And it's usually, it all boil back down to love and humanity. We have to learn to be more loving and more accepting. We have to learn how to drop grudges. We have to learn how to let go of negative. And our soul kind of recycles until we do. Okay? And that's what that karma thing's all about. Sometimes we goof it up. We don't get it right. We wash, rinse, and repeat. We go back over and get the opportunity to come back again. We also come into agreements on the time. Nobody dies before their time. I've never seen anybody die, whether accidental or even by murder, that didn't die when they were supposed to. It's all preordained and predestined. Now, we can move some of that stuff around as we're down here a bit, but the majority of it is agreed upon. One of the other things that we do too is we choose our parents. Remember when you were a kid and you were throwing that hissy fit and you said, I didn't ask to be born. I didn't ask to be born to you guys. Yeah, guess what you did? And you even picked them out. So if you had some real issues, if you were meant to play a part in your parents' development and their growth, you may have raised your hand and said, yeah, I'll pick them. It is all kind of decided on ahead of time. So when that day comes, when that time expiration date comes, there's only a few ways we can leave this planet. We've got natural causes, heart attacks and disease, cancer and, those kind of things, old age, natural ways. There is also the next step, which is if there no disease or anything is in the plan so far before your chosen death, you can also leave as a result of an accident or murder. You know, perhaps fall out of a tree, car accident. I mean, any wide, you know, drowning, any accidental death, including murder. And then there is the last group that when the day comes and their soul hasn't lined up that exit route yet, that soul will choose suicide. That can be accidental or intentional. It makes no difference. That soul is completing its last and highest obligation to God and leaving on that day as agreed. If you have a loved one in spirit that has left by suicide, just know that they sit at the right hand of God. They completed the task that they were meant to complete. And it's not easy to leave this planet. It's not easy to choose that way to leave, because they know that it's going to leave a lot of heartache and a lot of devastation behind. But that is also a reason that we're here, is to grow through these things, to learn from them, and to understand that love is all encompassing, all healing, all creation. Moses wouldn't have had to carry those heavy tablets down off the mountain if he would have found a way to translate all 10 of those commandments into love. Okay? Don't murder your neighbor, love him. Don't steal from your neighbor, love him. Don't bear false witness on your neighbor if you just love him. Honor thy mother and father, love him. You can condense all 10 of those commandments down to love. Love unconditionally everyone and everything. And if you take on that philosophy and a positive frame of mind, you are going to get through a lot of life's upheavals and a whole lot better mindset. All right, you guys, I'm going to wrap this up for today. I just wanted to touch on it. I hadn't been here for a while. As usual, if you like my videos and you enjoy the content, please let me know. Come down in the the comment section down below. Leave your comments, leave your insights. You can follow me more at Facebook, Tina Beecher Psychic Medium, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook, or even on patreon.com. I also have a page over there. So until I see you guys again, I'm going to send you all love and light. See you soon.